She walked out of the Social Security office with a number on a piece of paper, $1,612 a month. She was 64, widowed 2 years earlier, and the representative processed her claim in 40 minutes. Nobody mentioned a second strategy sitting directly beneath the standard form, a strategy worth the difference between $1,612 and $2,194 every single month for the rest of her life. That $582 gap was never going to show up in a letter. The SSA processes what you file. If you file a standard application, you get a standard result. If you were born before 1962, you may be in that same position right now. And there are 4 rules buried inside the Social Security Code that determine whether you collect everything you earned or whether the system keeps the difference permanently. Before I get into those rules, I want to clear 4 things out of the way right now because if I do not, one of them will make you close this video before you get to the part that applies to you. First, you already claimed Social Security, so none of this applies. That depends on one question I'm going to ask you in Rule 3. The answer changes everything for widowed seniors already collecting. Second, your spouse is still living, so survivor benefit strategies do not apply. True, but Rules 1, 2, and 4 still apply to your household in significant dollar amounts. Stay. Third, you started collecting at 62 because you needed the income. The reduction from early claiming is permanent, but there is a separate correction sitting on your account right now that has nothing to do with when you filed. I will show you what it is. Fourth, Social Security is complicated and you are worried about saying the wrong thing on a phone call. Rule 4 is nothing but exact sentences, word for word. I will give you the precise language that opens the right door and what to say if the representative tries to send you through the wrong one. 4 rules. 4 phone call scripts. If you have stayed with me this far, you are already ahead of most people in your situation. The next section is the one that actually moves the money, and it is the one almost nobody reaches. If you are not subscribed yet, do that right now and turn on the bell. Social Security rules change every year, and nobody at the SSA is going to explain what those changes mean for your specific situation. That is exactly what this channel does. Subscribe and let us get into it. The information in this video is for educational purposes only and is not financial, legal, or tax advice. Any situations discussed are for illustrative purposes. Please consult a qualified professional for your specific situation. Here is the finding that tells you exactly what you are dealing with. The Social Security Administration's own Office of the Inspector General released an audit in March 2026 with 2 separate findings that apply directly to the group watching this video. Finding 1. SSA employees failed to apply a required calculation known as the widow or widower's indexing computation. The agency calls it WINDEX when manually processing a subset of survivor claims. The result, 8,618 widows and widowers were underpaid a combined $50.4 million. That is an average of $5,448 per person, every month short. The Inspector General's exact words, "We could not determine why SSA employees did not appropriately apply the WINDEX calculation." Finding 2. A separate audit of dually entitled widows and widowers found that 82% were never informed of a filing option that would have produced significantly higher monthly payments and subscribe right now. So this research keeps reaching you when you need it most, because the next section explains exactly what that option is worth in real dollars. Rule 1. The survivorship gap that deemed filing cannot touch. Most people know that Social Security changed the rules in 2016. Congress passed the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015, and it introduced something called deemed filing. In plain terms, if you file for Social Security retirement benefits, you are automatically deemed to have filed for every benefit you qualify for simultaneously. You cannot claim one and let the other grow. The rule eliminated a strategy millions of seniors had built their plans around. Here is what deemed filing cannot touch. Survivor benefits. This is confirmed directly on SSA's own website. Deemed filing applies to retirement benefits, not survivor benefits. A surviving spouse may start survivor benefits independently of their own retirement benefit. Full stop. This is not a loophole or a grandfathered rule. It is current law in 2026. Available to every eligible widow and widower regardless of birth year. Here is what it means in real dollars for a woman named Carol in Memphis, 63 years old. Widowed at 61. Her late husband's full Social Security benefit was $2,300 per month. Rather than file for everything at once, Carol filed for survivor benefits only. At 63, her survivor amount came to approximately $1,724 per month. She collected that check while her own retirement benefit kept growing at 8% per year. At 70, she compared both numbers and stayed on the survivor benefit at $2,300, but she had collected $1,724 per month for 84 months before ever touching her own retirement record. That is $144,816 collected before her own benefit even began. The SSA representative who processed her original claim spent 40 minutes on the phone with her. Never mentioned it. Rule 2. Delayed credits you are already entitled to, but may not have received correctly. For people born before 1962, your full retirement age falls on a graduated scale. Born between 1943 and 1954, your full retirement age is exactly 66. Born in 1959, it is 66 and 10 months. Born in 1961, it is 67. For every year you delay claiming past your full retirement age, the SSA is required to credit your benefit with 8% per year up to age 70. That is confirmed in the Congressional Research Service Report on Social Security Adjustment Factors, published by the Library of Congress. For someone with a full retirement age of 66, delaying to 70 means a 32% increase above your full benefit amount. A 32% increase on a $1,600 full retirement benefit is $512 more per month, every month, permanent, over a 20-year retirement. That is $122,880 in the difference column. A 70-year-old retired school librarian in Albuquerque named Ruth had delayed claiming until 70 specifically to capture those credits. She had worked 33 years, and her benefit at full retirement age was $1,847. At 70, with 48 months of delayed credits at 8% per year, her correct benefit should have been $2,434 per month. The figure on her statement was $2,201. She requested a recalculation. The SSA confirmed a processing error in how the delayed credits had been applied. The corrected monthly benefit added $233 per month back to her check going forward. But here is what most people miss. The error is not always in the claiming decision. Sometimes the error is in whether delayed retirement credits were calculated correctly when you did file. The SSA Inspector General found calculation errors in 41% of manually processed survivor benefit cases reviewed. If the math on your delayed credits does not match what you were told when you filed, a correction is available. Log into ssa.gov, open your My Social Security account, and look at your benefit statement. The number should reflect the credits you earned by waiting. If it does not, that is a fixable error. Rule 3. The WINDEX calculation. This is the rule almost nobody knows to ask about, and it is the one the SSA Inspector General called out by name in March 2026. If you are a widow or widower and your late spouse died before they turned 62, this rule applies to your monthly benefit directly. WINDEX is a calculation method that adjusts how a deceased spouse's earnings are indexed when determining the survivor benefit. When applied correctly, it produces a higher monthly amount than the standard formula. When it is skipped, you collect less every single month, and the SSA sends no notice. The March 2026 Inspector General audit found that SSA employees failed to apply WINDEX correctly in 11 of the manually processed cases examined. Based on that sample, the Inspector General estimated 8,618 widows and widowers were underpaid a combined $50.4 million. Average loss per person, $5,448. The agency could not explain why the calculation was skipped. The people affected received no letter. They are collecting a reduced amount right now, and most of them have no idea. A 69-year-old widow named Edna in Columbus had been receiving survivor benefits for 4 years when this audit reached her. Her late husband passed at 56 in 2018. She called the SSA and asked specifically whether WINDEX had been applied to her calculation. It had not. Her monthly benefit was corrected upward by $97. The SSA issued retroactive back pay for the months within their processing window. Edna will not recover the full underpayment from all 4 years. The correction going forward is permanent, and it runs every month from here on. This is the section I promised at the beginning was specifically for widows and widowers. This is the money. The call that retrieves it is in Rule 4. Rule 4. The exact words. Do not paraphrase, do not summarize. The specific language you use on the phone determines which processing pathway opens. The wrong words trigger a general inquiry. The right words open the specific correction record. Here is what that difference looks like. Wrong exchange. Caller says, I think there might be a problem with my Social Security. Representative routes it to a general inquiry, standard processing, months of waiting, nothing specific gets checked. Right exchange for WINDEX correction. I want to verify whether WINDEX, the widow's indexing computation, was correctly applied to my survivor benefit calculation. My late spouse passed away before age 62. That sentence tells the representative exactly which calculation to pull. If they say they see no issue, I would like to file a formal request for reconsideration of my survivor benefit calculation, specifically related to the widow's indexing computation. That phrase triggers a supervisor-level review, not a standard callback. For survivors filing survivor benefits while holding their own retirement benefit in reserve, say exactly this. I want to file for survivor benefits on my late spouse's record. I am not filing for my own retirement benefit at this time. Stop if the representative mentions deemed filing in response. Survivor benefits are not subject to deemed filing under current Social Security law. I am filing for survivor benefits only. Ask to speak with a technical expert if they cannot confirm it. One phone call done incorrectly on a survivor application cannot be undone. For anyone who delayed claiming and wants to verify their delayed retirement credits, say, I want to verify that the delayed retirement credits on my account were calculated correctly from my full retirement age through the date I filed. The SSA number is 1-800-772-1213. Write down every answer. Ask for the representative's name and a confirmation number. Those notes are your record if a discrepancy surfaces later. As you finish this video, hold one person in mind: a widow, a widower, someone born before 1962 who has been receiving the same monthly check for years without once being told there is a calculation on their account that may have never been verified. They did not miss this because they were not paying attention. They missed it because the SSA never told them to look. By the time this video ends, you will know exactly what to send them. Here is the honest part. Money from months before you make these calls is largely not retrievable. Retroactive corrections are generally limited to 6 months before the month in which you file a formal request per SSA policy. That is the honest boundary. But the correction going forward is permanent. The month the math changes is the month it stays changed for every month of retirement that follows. One note: WINDEX applies specifically when the deceased spouse died before age 62. If that does not describe your situation, Rules 1 and 2 still apply. For complex situations involving multiple marriages or disability, a consultation with a Social Security planning specialist before filing is time well spent. Log into ssa.gov, open your My Social Security account. Look at your current benefit statement. If you are a widow or widower and your late spouse died before 62, call 1-800-772-1213 and say, I want to verify whether WINDEX was correctly applied to my survivor benefit calculation. If you have not yet filed and want to collect survivor income while your own benefit grows, say, I want to file for survivor benefits on my late spouse's record. I am not filing for my own retirement benefit at this time. And if you believe your delayed retirement credits were not applied correctly, say, I want to verify that my delayed retirement credits were calculated correctly through the date I filed. 3 sentences, 3 separate pathways. Any one of them could permanently change your monthly check. The SSA representative processed her claim in 40 minutes and moved on to the next caller. No one in that office did anything dishonest. The system processes what you file. You now know what to say next time. That is the only difference between the people who collect everything they earned and the people who do not. Send this video to one widowed person you know who was born before 1962 and has been collecting Social Security without ever asking these questions. That one share might put $5,448 back in their account from an underpayment the SSA Inspector General confirmed in March 2026 and never sent a single letter about. That is what this channel is here to do. Subscribe right now so this research keeps reaching you before the next correction window closes. You learned one set of Social Security rules today. There are other gaps in the system that cost seniors money in completely different ways. The next video builds on what you just covered. It is on screen right now. Watch it before you make any filing decision. If this video gave you information you did not have before, share it right now. One share puts it in front of someone who needs it before they make an irreversible decision. Comment the word "checked" below. I read everyone.